These movies flopped so hard, no one wanted anything to do with them. One movie helped shutter an animation house. Another had 30 minutes of footage missing and was rumored lost in a vault. And one of these almost ended a director's live-action career before it even began. These are the 10 most underrated sci-fi movie flops. Starting with number 10, Titan A.E.
Chowkin. Hey, it's me, it's Kale, alright? I'm not with those losers.
Fox swung for the fences and missed. Earth blows up before the opening credits settle. Survivors scatter. And a stubborn kid with a ring map is suddenly carrying what's left of the species. It isn't Saturday morning safe. The jokes have bruises. The hero drags his feet. And the look, hand-drawn faces riding on shiny CG, landed the same month audiences fell in love with full 3D and Disney comfort food. Marketing had no idea who to talk to. Kids, teens, the Star Wars crowd. The release limped, the numbers tanked, and the blame rolled downhill to Phoenix. Fox Animation shut its doors, and this one wore the scarlet F. But time is kind. The dreg looked like living light. The Icefield chase is cut like ballet. The finale actually pays off the title without a wink. It's messy, sure, but it's rare too. An animated sci-fi that lets itself be angry, earnest, and hopeful in the same breath. If it felt like a flop then, it plays like a survivor now. Number 9, Dark City. A man wakes up with no memory in a city that never sees the sun. Tall, pale strangers stop time, slide buildings around, and turn reality like a Rubik's Cube. If you're thinking of The Matrix, this got there first, and in its own way. Alex Proyas builds a midnight maze that knows its ancestors, Metropolis, trench coats, manga, and still writes its own rules. Then the studio blinked. Test screening spooked execs into slapping on a spoiler voiceover and trimming the very scenes that explained how the world works. It got sold like a generic thriller, so audiences shrugged and walked past. What sank it then is what makes it breathe now. You can feel hands on the skyline. Rooms tilt and reassemble. The last reveal tells you the sets were telling the truth the whole time. Restorations and critics dragged it back from the edge, and people finally saw what it was doing. Production design as plot, not wallpaper. It didn't just influence other films. It cleared a lane for sci-fi that treats world building like philosophy you can walk through. Number 8, The Abyss.
Blow all tanks! Blow all the tanks! Blow everything!
James Cameron tried to photograph the ocean's mood and nearly drowned getting it. The story is simple. Oil rig divers and Navy specialists drop to a sunken sub and meet something that didn't evolve here. The feeling is not. Helmets fog. Voices fray over the radio. Water shows up as a character, heavy, indifferent, sometimes merciful. The shoot is legend. A 7 million gallon tank, brutal hours, tempers snapped, bodies pushed past reasonable. The theatrical cut couldn't carry every idea they wrestled on set, and opening weekends yawned. What stuck was craft and heart. Cameron turns the procedure into suspense, lets a failing marriage weigh as much as First Contact, and drops a then new effect, the liquid face, like an emotion instead of a tech demo. The extended cut proved the spine was there all along. On paper, it wobbled. In the genre, it taught everyone how to make awe feel touchable and stakes feel human. Some movies win Fridays. This one won the years after. Number 7, Event Horizon.
Skipper!
Ion drive in 10 minutes.
Ooh, it's time to play Spam in the Can.
A rescue team boards a ship that vanished by Neptune and came back wrong. Doors moan like church organs, ribbed corridors throw iron shadows, and the gravity drive looks like something you'd kneel to. On paper, that mix of gothic and hardware should have cooked. Instead, test audiences recoiled, the studio panicked, and the cut got hacked to pieces. Whole bridges of story went missing. What hit theaters felt jagged, rushed, and weirdly sold like a standard space thriller. Critics called it derivative. Horror fans wanted more build. Sci-fi fans balked at the gore, and the rollout face planted. But look past the headlines, and the bones are solid. Notre Dame in orbit. Lawrence Fishburne playing command like a moral law. Sam Neill letting obsession eat him a bite at a time. When the movie finally rips its mask off, it refuses to apologize. And that used to be called a flaw. Late-night reruns and rumors of lost footage turned the rough edges into texture. The studio learned the wrong lesson. Rush dread like fireworks and you snuff it out. The audience that stayed learned the right one. Some doors should stay sealed, and some sci-fi is supposed to scar. Number 6. John Carter. Adapt the pulp that birthed half of space opera, and you'd think it's a layup. Instead, timing stabbed it in the back. By the time the grandfather finally arrived, everyone swore the grandkids invented the tricks. A Civil War vet falls onto Mars, stumbles into a planet's war, and finds a heart somewhere between low gravity and red desert light. Andrew Stanton built it sincere, creatures with personality, chases staged like playground dares, romance that doesn't duck. Then the campaign blinked. The title dropped of Mars. The trailers sanded the plot into beige, and the whole pitch started smelling like every other franchise starter. Word spread that it was old hat, the budget said otherwise. The box office thud rewired boardrooms and shoved Disney further into the safety of proven IP engines. Strip away the meme, and what's left is a fair-playing throwback. A lead who earns it the long way, world building that feels lived in instead of themed, set pieces that feel like discovery instead of noise. Why it flopped, muddled marketing, cursed timing, sticker shock expectations. Why it lingers, heart on its sleeve, and a horizon worth chasing. Number 5. Donnie Darko.
And if you're cute and you're horny, then you're probably happy that you don't know who you are or why you're even alive.
A kid meets a man in a rabbit suit and starts counting down to the end of the world. You either lean in or you don't. Fall 2001 wasn't the moment for a story where a jet engine drops from nowhere, so theaters kept it small and quiet. Marketing couldn't decide if it was teen angst, sci-fi puzzle, or black comedy. It slipped through. Then, midnight screenings turned a whisper into a ritual. Richard Kelly shoots suburbia like a stage where something is off by half a step. Cul-de-sacs humming, teachers grating souls, parents loving and flailing in the same breath. Jake Gyllenhaal keeps the edges sharp without sanding off the hurt. The soundtrack tattoos scenes onto memory. The sci-fi spine, time loops, artifacts, alternate paths, wraps around a sacrifice story that never says its name. It flopped thanks to unlucky timing, fuzzy positioning, and a weekend that wasn't built for it. But why does it live now? Thanks to home video, forums, and the slow realization you didn't misread it, you just hadn't grown into it. Number 4. Treasure Planet. Take Treasure Island, shoot it into space, and split the design 70-30. Tall ships and brass for the 1800s, star sails and cyborg joints for the future. Solar galleons glide through nebulae, star maps bloom like stained glass, and a one-armed cook flips a knife with clockwork grace. Gorgeous wasn't the problem, timing was. Disney dropped a hybrid 2/CG swashbuckler into a holiday season, drunk on full 3D and franchise noise. The campaign couldn't cut through. Reviews were warm, not wild, and the box office sank with it. Inside the studio, that stumble helped harden the pivot to all CG. Outside, a cult kept the lantern lit. What the receipts missed, the characters fix. Jim Hawkins isn't a prince, he's a restless kid who wants out. His bond with Silver plays in small, human beats. Hands on rigging, grease on tools, the near-silent admission that growing up costs. 2 decades later, the look reads intentional instead of dated. The world feels lived in instead of themed. And the movie scans less like a relic and more like a map someone forgot to follow. Number 3. Blade Runner, 2049.
So he didn't kill her?
She died in childbirth.
A sequel to a sacred slow burn is either hubris or faith. Denis Villeneuve chose faith. Nearly 3 hours of rooms that think, light that remembers, and a detective plot that keeps finding bones under the floorboards. A replicant Blade Runner trips a secret that could redraw the line between born and built, then asks whether the line ever meant anything. It moves at the speed of breath. That alone kept 4 quadrants at bay, and a budget this size needed all 4. On paper, it underperformed. On screen, it's a cathedral. Roger Deakins paints dust into velvet and snow into confession. Faces hold more than the dialogue will say. The score hums like machinery trying to mourn. It honors the original without embalming it, refuses to shout the answers, and lets silence pay rent. Studio lesson: Acclaim doesn't close ledgers. Genre lesson. You can be grand and pensive at once, and you don't have to apologize for taking your time. Number 2. Annihilation.
I didn't realize there were sides.
Yeah, there are sides.
Okay.
A shimmer drops over a stretch of coastline, and reality starts editing itself. Flowers braided into antlers, houses remembering other lives, a bear that steals a voice. A biologist walks in with an all-women team and finds questions science isn't built to carry. Alex Garland shoots Dredd in daylight and lets the frame sit while something indecent happens at the edge. Test screenings rattled nerves, an international streaming sale clipped the theatrical rollout, and the domestic run stalled between too cerebral and too body horror. That's the flop part. The film part is cleaner. A refracted self in a room that moves like a metronome. Grief dissolving along with identity. Annihilation not as kaboom, but as blur. Cells, borders, names. You don't solve it, you sit with it and see it after. Business takeaway, offload mid-budget risk to streamers. Artistic takeaway, cosmic horror doesn't have to scold or soothe. It can hand you a mirror that won't stay flat. Number 1, Starship Troopers.
A citizen accepts personal responsibility for the safety of the body politic, defending it with his life.
On top, it's a bug hunt with good hair. Crushes, jawlines, and rifles kicking against a sky full of chitin. Underneath, Paul Verhoeven is smirking through a civics lesson. Citizenship comes with service, propaganda rolls between classes, and war plays like prom with blood. In 1997, a lot of people took it straight. The mannequin acting read as wooden instead of weaponized, the satire scanned as rah-rah instead of razor, and the box office shrugged. That's why it flopped. The trick is what lingers. The action's clean and mean, the fake newsreels do half the storytelling, and the aftertaste is the point. It invites the cheer, then asks why you cheered. Sequels shambled on cheap. The original marched into film syllabi and got sharper in pause and rewind culture. Ships that vanish and come back wrong, cities rewritten at midnight, stories that bombed first and bloomed later. Those were the 10 most underrated sci-fi movie flops. Which one are you pressing play on tonight?